What's good, y'all? Blacksmith here, and today we're here to talk about Furiosa, a Mad Max saga. This is a follow-up to the movie Mad Max Fury Road and acts as not only a prequel to that movie, but also the origin story of the character Furiosa, who was previously played by Charlize Theron in Mad Max Fury Road. Now, if you're unfamiliar with who Furiosa is, she's an officer in the army of a character named Immortan Joe, who pretty much is a dictator of an area of Earth with an abundance of materials and resources. She's a kick-ass character and she knows how to fight. I loved her in Fury Road. So, is Furiosa worthy of the saga title? Let's talk about it. This being a prequel film, we're getting the story of a younger version of Furiosa, played by Anya Taylor-Joy, who you might recognize from movies such as The Menu, The Witch, and Split. This movie also stars Chris Hemsworth, who you might recognize from Thor, and he's playing a biker warlord. If you're unfamiliar with the world of Mad Max, it's pretty much an apocalyptic landscape where people scour the earth and scavenge for any resources they can find, and that includes robbing people and hurting people for those resources. And their main methods of transportation are vehicles. Cars, trucks, planes, trains, really anything that they can find or sometimes make. And people in this universe will rob you for anything that you have: tires, oil, gas, clothing, food, anything that you have on you. Real scavenger type stuff. Now, the story of Furiosa is about a young girl who is kidnapped by a warlord named Dementis from her home, which most people would call the Green Place. Yeah, she comes from a place of abundance, which pretty much has anything that a human would need to survive. And so her journey throughout the movie is to try to find her people and get back home. And that's all I'll say about the story. So let's get into these pros and cons. Now, the first pro I'm gonna go over, the obvious one, the action. This movie did not miss the mark when it came to actions. It has the same feel as it did from Fury Road. And not to get all technical, but I did read somewhere that the same people who worked on the production for Fury Road actually worked on this movie too. So that's why the action is still pretty good. This movie got a lot of explosions and a lot of fire. So I think anyone who loves action movies is gonna love this one. Second pro, the acting. Now, I can't really speak much on Furiosa's character because Furiosa didn't really say much. She did a lot of things. The stunts were pretty cool, but that was pretty much the extent of Furiosa's character, which is what makes her kind of cool. At one point in the movie, she took on more of like a Grim Reaper type of role when it came to certain characters. It was awesome to watch. But I will say, Chris Hemsworth stole the show. It's kind of weird seeing Chris Hemsworth, who played Thor, pretty much playing an evil version of Thor here. Kept his beard, he got the red cape and everything. Imagine Captain Jack Sparrow with the body of Thor, who's a warlord in an apocalyptic landscape, and you got Dementis. The next pro, the execution of the story. Now, there wasn't really anything particularly special about the story, but I will say I remember watching Fury Road and not really thinking that they were going to go anywhere with Furiosa. I don't think a lot of people really cared about getting to know her character like that, but this movie gives you a reason to be more interested in her as a character. The events that happened between the moment that she was kidnapped and the moment that she gets her revenge focused on character development, and it was very interesting to see that throughout the movie. And with a 2 hour and 30-minute runtime, they had a lot of ground to cover, and they did it very well. All that being said, I do have one very major con. The big disappointing con that I have with this movie are the effects. According to the director, George Miller, all the effects from Mad Max Fury Road were achieved practically. Meaning that most of the effects, 90% from his words, were realistic. Realistic explosions, realistic fire, everything. Furiosa, unfortunately, is almost the complete opposite. Yeah, it was so disappointing seeing that most of the effects and explosions and even some of the fire was CGI. You could just tell. I mean, the effects did what they were supposed to do, but it didn't give off the same feel that Fury Road had as far as what the effects looked like, and that was very disappointing to me. But I will give them some more grace on this because this movie does have a lot more plot points outside of just everyone being in vehicles like it did in Fury Road. There's a lot more interaction between characters in different places outside of vehicles, so I can give them a little grace on that. Overall, I really enjoyed this movie. If you're interested in seeing an action movie, see this movie. If you're interested in seeing a Mad Max movie that dives into aspects outside of the cars and focuses more on character interaction and character development, then see this movie too. It's still great. Thanks for checking out my review. Let me know if you plan on seeing this movie. Let me know if you've already seen it and what you thought about it. Let me know what you thought about this review and give your boy a like and a follow. I really appreciate it. And until next time, peace.